Hey guys, Wess Brown here, media producer and resident bow technician for Redline Bow Hunting, and welcome to the shop. We're gonna earn it a little bit more today. It's a little snowy, kind of windy, and yeah, it's frigid. But luckily enough, when we come in and get the arrows, we get to warm up. But anyway, guys, welcome to the shop, and today we're gonna be going over the torch second pin and how to kind of maneuver that. It should be pretty short and sweet, super simple. And then I'm going to give you guys a little bit of suggestions on how to use that second pin, along with some suggestions that we've gotten from dealers and other ambassadors and really just hunters like yourselves on how they like to use that second pin. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. All right, guys, so I moved around a little bit. We're going to do a little bit of shooting to kind of show you how I utilize that second pin, but let's just go over a couple things about the second pin. And you'll notice that you have right on the back side of your sight, kind of what's facing your target, you'll notice that you have an adjustment screw right there, and you are provided with a small enough Allen key to fit there so that you have about a 1/4 inch of movement there to really hone in that second pin exactly how and where you want it for your particular setup. And you'll also notice that the top pin is a 19 thousandth size and that bottom pin is a 15 thousandth size. You know, so if you're going to reach out and touch something, that pin's just a tad bit smaller. You'll also notice that you'll have 2 indicators on your wheel, and what you don't see on my sight is you won't see the second indicator on the front panel for your yardage, but it is provided for you. And if for some reason you don't have one, give us a call and we'll get you hooked up. But you're going to have dual indicators for both yardage tapes of where you can see that. I have mine on my wheel and I only have one on my front, and I'll tell you about that here shortly when I get into suggestions on how to use that second pin. But at the end of the day, you'll notice that I have mine set at 27 yards. Let me see. Yeah, pretty darn close, 27-ish. Yep, 27 yards. But you can have, you know, really the straightforward answer for how to use this second pin is, you know, if you're at 20 yards, you also want to be able to shoot at 30 without moving your sight. So you can sit there and use that second pin while still at 20 yards and kind of maneuver that like a fixed pin to figure out where it is perfect for 10 yards, 15 yards, maybe 20. But of course, you see there is a limit of how much movement you can do with that second pin. And so depending on how your bow is set up and how your arrows are set up and how fast or slow your bow is will determine on how much yardage you will get out of that second pin. So just keep that in mind. You know, I'm not gonna really get into a lot of detail for you guys because at the end of the day, this second pin is for you, and you're gonna wanna really hone that into exactly how you want it on your sight. So let's go over just a couple examples of what myself or some other people have used these 2 pins for. Now again, you can go at 20 yards and fix that pin down to 30 so that you know that when you are all the way up to your 20-yard mark, you know that second pin is good for 30 yards, which is great for you whitetail hunters. And then another option is, let's say that, you know, you're a Western hunter and your average shot is going to be around 50 yards. Well, now let's dial that to 50 yards, and then you can utilize that second pin for maybe 60 yards so that you know, if you have a bull elk coming in, you know, maybe he gets spooked and goes off 10 yards and boom, you're good for 50 and 60. So however you want to utilize that second pin in those types of scenarios, the world is your oyster, right? Now, I heard some people saying that they are utilizing the 2 pins and the 2 indicators for 2 totally different setups, which I think is fantastic, guys. You know, so on your front sight, it could be your 3D setup, so that could be your very fast setup. You know, you have a lighter arrow and you utilize that front tape with whatever setup you have for 3D. And then you have your wheel tape as well, and you can set that up with a heavier hunting arrow so that essentially this sight is perfect for, you know, your hunting bow, and then also, a little mark on my bow, your hunting bow and then your 3D setup. You can interchange this in and out if you wanted to, if you have another bracket. A lot of options in that area. I'm not a big fan of doing that. I like to have my own setups for all that. So, but whoever does that, that is freaking awesome. And if you do that, I would love to have you guys put a video out, because I would love to see how you're doing that and how proficient and efficient that setup is for you. But what I like the most, and this is what I'll suggest to you folks, because one, it allows you to shoot from 20 to 40 yards in a tree stand saddle hunting situation, and you can put that anywhere you want for hogs or whatever. But for me, for a whitetail situation, I love the fact that I will put my sight at 27 yards so that when I shoot my top pin at 27, it's dead on. And then my second pin will be set for 40 yards. So when my yardage dial is at 27 yards, you'll also notice that my second pin indicator is at 40 yards. So what that does is, and I'm gonna go and shoot this real quick and show you guys, but what that does and what it allows me to do is to never move my sight from 20 out to 40 yards. And why I do that is because, one, I have to really truly know my equipment. I have to shoot, I have to, you know, I have to do everything with this bow, and I have to do it consistently so that I know exactly where my arrow is going to shoot. But it also gives me, you know, the confidence in my equipment, the confidence in myself and my sight, and it really, in my opinion, truly makes me deadly without any movement besides drawing back and shooting that deer out to 40 yards. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how I shoot from these distances and how I utilize this system here to make me effective out to 40 yards without ever moving my sight once I set it to 27 yards. So yeah, let's just get started. All right, guys, so I'm gonna go out to 20 yards right here. So here's my 20-yard mark. I've already been shooting a little bit today because I didn't want to make an ass of myself while doing this video for you guys. But again, my sight's set at 27 yards. Let me double check here. Let me just hone her in. Boom, 27 yards. I'm at 20. And what's going to happen is I'm going to be about 3-ish inches high here at 20 yards set when my bow is set at 27. Now, what's really cool about this is because that's at 3 inches. And now if I have a deer, at 20 yards and my sight's set at 27, I'm killing that deer. A 3-inch up and down. I mean, the lungs are a nice 8-inch paper plate. And luckily at 20 yards, I'm 3 inches high, and that's still a dead deer. And I don't have to ever think about anything. Now let's move back to 27. Let me double check. Yep, so I'm at 27 here. Again, I'm not moving my sight whatsoever. Boom. Now I'm gonna move back to 30 yards. Well, let's see. This might be a little farther than 30. So I'm at 35 yards right here, guys. So again, I have not moved my sight whatsoever. I'm still at 27, and I'm still gonna put a dead hold right in the center where I wanna hit. Boom. 3 inches low. Now, I'm gonna go all the way back to 40 yards. Which is right back here. Now I'm at 40 yards right now, and now I know that I have to use my second pin. And that second pin is gonna go dead center. There we go. So, now my form wasn't the greatest. I'm kind of rushing through all of this, but at the end of the day, my 40-yard shot with my second pin is dead on. My 20 yards, 3 inches high. My 35 yards is like 3.5, 4 inches low. And I'm effective out to 40 yards, guys. To me, that's a big deal to have a sight to be able to do that, because really, at the end of the day, I don't want to move around. I don't want to have to think about a sight, but I also want the option that I can go out and reach out and touch something, because usually outside of 40 yards, I have a little bit of room to work with when it comes to making movements with my bow, maybe a little bit more time to hone in to whatever shot I'm gonna have to make, things like that. So, you know, this is my suggested way to use that second pin. But if you guys have any more questions at all on how to sight this second pin in, it's super simple. It's just like a fixed pin. You just kind of, wherever you end up putting your first pin, whether it's at 30 yards or 40, you can then manipulate that second pin to make it really wherever you want it, so that, you know, at the end of the day, you know, like, okay, when I'm at 50, I'm dead on at 60 with my second pin, or do what I do. I think, you know, doing what I do really gives you that versatility out to 40 yards without messing with it. So anyway, guys, if you have any questions, shoot them in the comments or send an email to us and we'll get back to you. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.